Evening all. Well, we're at DEFCON 4, people. Things have hit the fan. Situation's grim, with our backs to the wall. Yes. Whilst we were reeling at the news that the EU Parliament passed Articles 11 and 13 of the European Copyright Act, and we got to see just how shoddy the whole European Parliament works and is run. And we were wondering what that would do to our ability to comment on the news. Could we share news articles anymore without paying exorbitant fees? Could we make memes, do parodies? Could we comment on stories? Would fair use be still a thing? And could we still make Let's Play videos? Well, we were reeling at that news. And while we were processing that information about where to go next, then came this story that a group of MPs are very concerned about hate-filled online forums, and that they should be banned and reported and blocked and all these other things, and people's social media accounts taken away from them. And I'm sure some of these MPs will sit there and go, well, yes, we've got to stop the forums where the bomb makers meet, or the anarchists meet, who are plotting all our downfall. But no, that's not what's going to happen. They're going to go after people like the Liberalist group on Facebook. They're going to go after 4chan discussion groups where kind of edgy, snarky, sarcastic people hang out who might make a joke about Islam in poor taste. But it won't actually be illegal. It won't actually be threatening violence or aggression against different groups of people. But no, they'll be the ones who are targeted first. But then, yesterday, came a news article and a report that, frankly, has taken us to the max in the culture wars. Hence why I'm wearing a helmet, because anything could kick off at any moment, and I want to be prepared. So, this is about the Alternative Influence report. It was published in The Guardian from a society called, I think it's Data and Society Group, which I believe is a left-leaning think tank, and it's produced by a graduate student called Becca Lewis, who's so happy she's done it. Yay me, as she said on Twitter. Yo, I hope you all like it. No, I hate it. It's a piece of garbage full of lies and distortions and untruth. And what it is that it takes all the conservative, libertarian, left libertarian, centrists, radical centrists, all these free thinkers, bits of the intellectual dark web thrown in, but people who aren't on the progressive left, who are popular YouTubers. And what it's done is it's connected them into this very crisscrossy diagram that resembles the Snowdon birdhouse at London Zoo. And in the middle, you've got Sargon of Akkad and Andy Warski, and apparently they're connected to everybody in the web. I bet that's news to them. So, if you follow all these lines, and this person has once interviewed that person who did a live stream with this person, and everything leads to Richard Spencer and the alt-right. That's basically what this diagram is saying. And that's what the verbose report that goes along with the diagram says, that these people have influence over minds, as if people watching a Ben Shapiro video can't make their own minds up. You know, you can happily, believe me, lefty progressives, you know, people are capable of watching something and going, nah, not buying it. That happens all the time. Okay, but that's because the progressive left don't like people and they don't trust people to make their own minds up. Because inevitably people go, nah, progressive leftism, not having it. And that's what they're frightened of. So this thing connects everybody. So once upon a time, Ben Shapiro did an interview with Dave Rubin, but Dave Rubin, nice, friendly Dave Rubin, you know, the guy who wants to have a conversation with people of different political viewpoints. He once interviewed Stefan Molyneux. Molyneux did one question in that interview. I mean, it went on for a long time, but there was one question about IQ and race being linked. Was that a thing? Molyneux thought it was. Rubin was skeptical. But Rubin, you see, because he didn't leap out of his chair and put his hands around Molyneux's neck and choke the life out of him, the left said, oh, he's too soft. He's too soft. on the alt-right, Stefan Molyneux, who somehow, pardon me, follow the lines, and you get to Richard Spencer and the alt-right. That's what this diagram is. 6 degrees of the alt-right. Carl Benjamin is Kevin Bacon in this scenario. And you can tell what's going to happen. This think tank has produced this document. It goes into the Guardian. Where's it going to go next? Obviously, it's going to go to the Labour and Liberal Democrat parties in the UK, and it's going to go to the tech companies, and it's going to go to the European Union. And they're going to use that as a kind of blueprint of censorship. The groundwork's there. We've had these 3 big things happen this week, and the culture wars are stepping up. Right? The left want to absolutely win this one, win it quickly, right? And shut out anybody who disagrees with them. And they've got the most unlikely backers, and there's the most unlikely allies. Right? For years, radical lefties would say, what's Labour like? It's just like the Tories. Well, it's not, it turns out. And there's a faction of the Tories that are not like Labour. What they are, that they're in worship of big companies who are now deciding to be progressive left in their outlook. We have Nike adverts, or why we have big tech companies, all progressive left wing. As massive corporations and government bureaucracy kind of merge into one, adopt a progressive left ideology, and shut everybody out. The entrepreneurs, the free thinkers, the little people who are doing this. So all this crisscross diagram will be used against these YouTubers who are a fascinating bunch. I mean, they're all kind of linked to the white supremacy. Even that black guy and Candace Owens. Apparently, who knew? Who knew that they were in league with the white supremacists? Internalized racism. And it's full of lies. As we speak, Dave Rubin and Sargon have produced videos debunking this diagram, this chart. And they're calling out Becca Lewis. In fact, Rubin, as Rubin does, is offering the chance to have a conversation with Becca Lewis. I bet you she won't accept because, you just don't acknowledge your enemies in the culture war if you're on the left. And B, you don't want to get caught out and admit you made the whole thing up. So this is a problem we have now. What can we do? Well, there's a number of things. You can cause a stink the best way you can without breaking the law, of course. We're not advocating violence here. Do not commit any criminal acts. But you can contact your Member of Parliament or your Member of the European Parliament. Don't let them go. I, myself, I'm doing this in a couple of weeks' time. My local MP has a breakfast meeting where he meets constituents over breakfast, very civilized, and he has a Q&A session, and I hope to put some questions to him on the nature of censorship, classical liberalism. Put it this way, he is a prominent cabinet minister who in the past has defended liberty and classical liberal principles. I'm going to put him to the test. So wish me luck on that one. Also, just get out there. Meme while you can. And I speak as someone who hates memes, but what I hate are dishonest memes. I like memes that have a kernel of truth. I've created one. I did my own left-wing influence diagram, and where I connected Olivia Solon, who wrote the Guardian article, connected her to the Guardian, which is connected to Owen Jones, who connected to Kevin Livingstone, who's connected to Hitler. And you can go the other way. Owen Jones goes to Jeremy Corbyn, who goes to Diane Abbott, who goes to Mao Zedong, and who goes to 100 million deaths. So you can play them at their own game, mock them. Just get out there, speak the truth. Jordan Peterson rule. Tell the truth, or at least don't tell lies. So what happens if they do ban this net? Well, out of the ashes will rise a second generation, the next generation, who I call League Division 2 of the alternative influence net. We don't have as much influence, but there's some good names there. There's some good people. If Sargon shall fall, Matt Christensen will step up. If Dave Rubin goes, academic associate. And the Britisher, not so obvious, Shinobi Yaka, Base Liz, even my humble self. Others whose names I can't remember at the moment. But, we'll step up. We'll have to raise our game. And then we'll get struck down. And I hope the next generation will take over. So until then, get your tin lids on and prepare for the worst. But come on, you don't give up. You don't fight. And until then, till next time, have a good night. Bye.